First, I would like to thank the co-chairs for squeezing me into the program. Sham and I pretty much decided to come here like in the last minute. So I want to share with you a class I just created and finished like 2 weeks ago on fintech. Before I introduce my class, and Roy actually asked me to also make a case for why do we, as people, why do we need to worry about fintech and how fintech can fit into our MBA core. So I will spend a few minutes on that first. Then I'm going to introduce my class on fintech. So nowadays, almost every day we hear news on how the finance industry is being disrupted by technologies, such as that JP Morgan, for example, has developed a software that can cut a lot of lawyers' work in their merger and acquisition IPO process. Used to be, it took like lawyers 36,000 hours. Now they can do it in like seconds. Imagine how many like lawyers during the merger and acquisition process will lose jobs. Also, we can use like the slow death of the investment analyst. Used to be the big 10 investment banks, they employ like tens of thousands of financial analysts. Now in total, the big 10, they have around 5,000 financial analysts. So a lot of jobs finance students used to dream of probably will be gone. And the same thing is happening in big 4 accounting firms. They are replacing jobs with artificial intelligence. That's something we as people should take a lead. Then it's not just the low end of jobs. It's also high end of jobs. For jobs like above $50,000, those jobs are also being replaced by software. So we hear it every day. All those are, if you just search in Google, all those are new articles coming out every day. So when the industry is being disrupted, our finance, not just finance, our education system probably will need to be disrupted also. David Yermak is a professor at NYU, and he is the chair of the finance department. He made a lot of changes in NYU's program. About 2 months ago, he gave a talk at Chicago, so I have a link here. So he made quite a few sensational claims. Here, for example, he predicts that banks and stock exchanges probably will no longer be there in 10 years if they don't change, if they take the new form. He was referring to a blockchain type of things. Also, he thinks that the finance and accounting department probably will not be necessary to be there by 2030 if we don't make a change. So all those, he made a very good value speech on that day. So he was advocating one class. He thinks that fintech probably is the only topic needs to be taught in finance. In his speech, he said he means quant. The quant is not the traditional quant in finance. He means things like fintech, coding, Python, big data analytics, and the like. Those are the topics we should cover in a finance class in fintech. So if you look at it, he basically is talking about the topics that we as people should take a lead on. Indeed, that's the point I also want to make. First of all, let's take a look at some of the programs on Fintech MBA program. NYU, because David Yermak is pushing for it, so this year, in January 2017, they are launching a new Fintech MBA program. So they are restructuring their program into Fintech. Okay, so that's the first program I see. And MIT and Berkeley, UC Berkeley, they are following. They also have, not the entire program is structured as fintech, but they have a specialization in fintech. So those are the people who are in charge of their programs in MIT and Berkeley. They already see huge demand from students, and they are placing students, and also they have some startups working with them or come out from the program, like AngelList, Common Bond in Boston, and WeFinance, Zendit, Lens App in UC Berkeley. So students are benefiting. And the point I want to make is It's not really just a finance class. If you look at the landscape, now those are the companies nowadays we talk about on fintech. A lot of the topics like blockchain, big data analytics, Bitcoin, crowdfunding, peer-to-peer lending, they are all topics that we care about also. We have, in this room, we have a lot of people doing research in those areas. Also, for every single company here, listed here, I cannot identify even one company that does not need to have IT, okay? Basically, the things that we teach. So this is also relevant to us. It's not that we as people want to encroach finance classes. This is also our territory. This is also the topic that we can take a lead on. That's the point I want to make. Then I want to come to my class. My class actually is not an MBA class yet. I just taught it in spring 2017. It's a fintech. The title is Fintech and Big Data Financial Analytics. It's a class in finance, but I also attract many business analytics students there. So the syllabus I already posted, I think, in the for this workshop. So those are the topics that currently I cover. The first topic I spent about 4 weeks on is how to seek smart alpha, how do you build a alpha model with big data there. So I have a project. I will go over more on that. What is the big data component there? And then I talk about robot advancing. In particular, I teach like algorithm trading and high-frequency trading there. I personally have been trading like high-frequency trading since 2012. So that's why I was able to cover this component. And big data financial analytics, here in this class, we hear talks on like big data, RSpark. So RSpark is the package I use. For example, I teach students how to model the level 2 data and tick-by-tick data. So that's a huge amount of data. For each stock, every day in the United States, we generate like a gigabytes of data. Okay, so that's a tick-by-tick data. How do we handle it? Then we have to use packages like a Spark or Hadoop. In my class, I use Spark. And I also cover things like text analytics, how to mine social media data, etc. Okay, and combine that into financial trading. And nowadays, machine learning and artificial intelligence, that's kind of the crown jewel. So I talk about the deep learning there, H2O and the TensorFlow. I have some slides I can share with you. And also I spent about 3 weeks on emerging fintech topics. In this class, I ran out of time, so I covered mainly on 2 topics. One is social trading and blockchain. I actually will take a sabbatical, and this I was approached by one company in China, a startup, and they want to develop a platform using blockchain on social trading. So that's why I'm going to take sabbatical for. So those are the topics I cover. And so just want to share with you a few slides what I use for my class. For some deep learning, I call it deep investing. Okay, when we apply deep learning to financial trading. So here, for example, I can use deep learning, and those are the strategies I actually implement. And this is for a Chinese company, so they test it out. So for example, I use deep learning to predict within 5 trading days whether or not the market, the stock is going up by 80% or going down by 80%, and so on. So that's the target, the outcome variable, and then you can construct many like independent variables, whatever you can, big data based data variables, or simply trading records. So I implemented in R and using H2O here. So this is just a snapshot of the screenshot of the code. So I shared with the students, and they can work on it, and they can refine it. So interestingly, actually, many students helped me to improve my program. So they got, for example, one student, after I do all the analysis, and the Sharpe ratio came out about 1. Typically, if you want to trade, you want to have 1.2, hopefully about 2. So one student was able to, using kind of a solver, the optimization package, and improved my program Sharpe ratio from 0.8 to 3. So I was using it actually in China. So that's the performance. You can see that. So I tested it in Chinese stock market. We know that the Chinese stock market was very volatile. In about 2 years ago, within about a 2-month period, it went down about 40%. So using this deep learning, I was able to, you can see that the overall return is about the same for a period of 2 years. However, my strategy is way more stable here, meaning the Sharpe ratio will be much higher. So that's one thing. We tried with deep learning and using TensorFlow to implement it eventually. So Roy also asked me to share with the audience on the project we used. So this is the first project students had to work out. They are going to use big data to create what we call big data alpha model. The first 2 steps are pretty much the same. You see in finance, a typical finance class. They create a portfolio. They download the fundamental data. Here we use a Yahoo Finance and a Quando that's available in R. And they also download the daily trading data, and they can construct technical indicators, etc., and ask them to compare with those professional platforms such as stock TA and stock charts, see if they constructed it correctly. So those are the steps that typically almost all quant finance they teach. Then it comes to the IS component. So I asked the students to retrieve for some tweets, Yahoo News, Google News, Reddit, because it's quite difficult. So they work in a group. So different groups, they probably will focus on, some groups focus on Google News, some groups focus on Reddit, and they combine it. So the whole class work together for this project. And then they can apply like a sentiment analysis, NLP. So the previous presenter just talked about IBM Watson. We're actually also trying it. We even applied the one company in Boston called Lexa Analytics. So how to use NLP to understand what people are talking about. So based on that, they can construct big data factors and combine it with the fundamental data and the trading data. There they can construct the big data-based alpha trading strategy. They back test it and calculate the portfolio performance using typical performance metrics such as return, Sharpe ratio, and max drawdown, etc. And I asked all students to open an account in Interactive Broker because it's free, and they give you a paper account, which they created, kind of artificial $1 million for you. They tested it, and if they are doing well, they can switch to, they can put money and switch to the real account. So that's the first project that they did. And students seemed to enjoy it. Also, R actually, you don't have to do everything. R already had a lot of packages that you can easily integrate into the project, for example. So there's a traditional R finance packages. In text mining, I use the Twitter R for some TM and NLP packages. So they are well-done packages also. In big data, I use Sparkly R and R Sparkling. So these are the 2 packages I use. In machine learning, in addition to the traditional association rule, etc., so I'm pretty much focused on H2O and the TensorFlow for deep learning. These are the TensorFlow actually just came out about a few months ago, available in R. So all those are the new stuff. So students, they are really motivated in learning it. So I don't know all the details. Actually, many students helped me to figure out many of the details. So that's the package. Then I think, yeah, Rob wants me to make sure I stop at 11:30. So this is the last slide. I just want to also get your opinion, get your thoughts on some of it. Now it is the golden time for us, for IS people. Every school is benefiting. We see huge programs. UT Dallas in particular will boast to have one of the biggest programs, probably the biggest business analytics program in the United States. Now, but there's a reason for that. We actually, officially we launched the business analytics program in 2013. However, we actually started in 2007. We had an early mover advantage. So it started with the business intelligence program. I happened to be one of the main contributors to that. So we already had a business intelligence certificate program. Before we officially launched the business analytics program, we already had about 600 students. Now we are talking about like 25. Sham will be the new area coordinator. So we were chatting about it. Now we probably are handling, our department we are handling about 25,000 students. Yeah, so we have about 1,200 ITM traditional master students, plus close to 600 MS BA students, plus 500 undergraduate students. We also teach IT healthcare. It's not 100% within our department, but we teach many. If you add up, I think it's closer to 3,000 maybe. We also attract a lot of students from finance, statistics, and many other disciplines. Okay, but I think that's because we were forward-looking. In 2007, we thought of a seed coming. Okay, so one thing I think right now we are in the peak. Probably we should worry about what's the next business analytics. What's going to come next? If you look at most of the business analytics program, we teach a lot of data mining, for example, but how difficult it is for students to pick up a data mining without us teaching them. This is a snapshot from enterprise miner in SaaS. Students really just need to do point and click, and they are able to implement certain methods like a decision tree, support vector machine, and then they are able to do scoring and test the performance, etc. That's typically what we teach students. But if you think about it, is it really a big deal? I had a few students, actually high school students, they want to take AP. I allowed them to sit in my class. They were able to do it like as good as the rest of master students. So that prompted me to think, okay, maybe that's not really something we should be so proud of. That's so. Yeah, don't have too many comments there. So maybe are we the middleman to be eliminated between students and the job? With the help of YouTube, MOOCs, etc., can they just learn the business analytics concepts or many of those methods by themselves? What are additional values we're adding? Maybe this is the time we should think about what's the next business analytics for IS, since right now we're on the peak. So those are the points I want to make. Yeah, thanks.